So, class, yesterday we have finished regarding the composition of the Lok Sabha. So, today we are going to start with the next topic, that is the functions of Parliament. First one, as you can see, what does Parliament do? And the very first function is a legislative function. As you can see that the main and the important function of the Parliament is to make a law. That means any kind of a policy, any kind of a regulation, any kind of a law is the responsibility of the Parliament to be made. But it doesn't mean that it is the only power that is there in the hands of the Parliament. Beside the legislative functions, there are other functions also. Like another one, like the second important function of the Parliament is control of executive and ensuring its accountability. That means whatever the powers and the functions are there in the hands of the executive for implementing and executing the policy, the law which will be made by the Parliament, they must, or the Parliament ensures that the executive does not overstep its authority. Okay, whatever powers and functions are there in the hands of the executive, that must be done, that must be implemented, that must be executed for the welfare of the people, and they should not overstep or they should not do something beyond the authority which has been provided to them. So next important function of the Parliament is financial function. That means what amount of money is been spended by the government on what all matters. Okay, that means where does that particular money or the bundle of money has came from, and where are the governments going to spend that amount of money. All these will be taken care by the financial, the government are going to spend that money. Okay, so what are the basic resources through which the government can gain or can get these is through taxation. Okay, taxation is one of the you can say main source for the government to gain the funds. So when it comes to a democratic country, legislature is the one who controls the taxation. Okay, as well as the way, the areas, okay, the department in which those taxations are being used by the government. So if the government of India proposes to introduce any new tax, okay, for introducing as well as for passing any bill that is related to money, okay, that will not be came into effect unless and until it get the approval of the Lok Sabha. So you can say that this is also one of the important function of the Lok Sabha, one of the important power which is there in the hands of the Lok Sabha, that no bill can be passed without the approval of Lok Sabha, especially when it is a money bill. So without the approval of Lok Sabha, no bill or not a single bill related to money can be introduced or can be approved by the Parliament. That means Lok Sabha plays an important role when it comes to the financial power of the Parliament. Okay. Another important financial power of the Parliament involves that the resources which is there with the government are needed to be implemented in the programs. That means the programs which are there, okay, those grants are being used properly or not, that is also needed to be taken care by the government. So all these financial budgets are being looked after by the legislature, and this is done through the budget and the annual financial statement every year that takes place in the legislature. Another important function of the Parliament is a representation. That means it is a place where there is a representation, or where the representations which are been appointed, which has been elected by the common people, represent their society, represent their different religion, represent their different economic, social, and you can say groups of different parts of a country, because we know that there are 543 constituencies. That means there are going to be 543 representatives also. That means each representatives are the one which has been elected, which has been appointed by the common people to look after their problems. Okay, so whatever problems that will be faced by the different people of different social groups or different religions are going to represent or are representing their representatives, so that particular problem can be solved and discussed in the Parliament. Another important function is a debating function. Now parliament, when it comes, it is one of the highest forum of debate that takes place in the country. Okay, it is a place where the discussion takes place at a higher level. That means there is no limitation on its power of discussions. That means members are free to speak on any matter without any fear. Every individual representative has have equal power to discuss a particular matter in the parliament. Besides being a largest forum of debate, it is also there are certain constituent function, like the parliament has the power of discussing and enacting the changes to the constitution, and we know that to bring changes in the constitution we need to go through the amendment process. So all the constitutional amendments have to be approved by a special majority of both the houses. That means for bringing any kind of a changes that you want to bring in the constitution of India, you need to get the approval of a majority or of a special majority from both the houses for bringing those changes into the enactment processes. So amendment will take place in that procedure. Likewise, electoral functions and judicial functions includes, okay, that is the power which is there in the hand of the parliament is the electoral function, basically or particularly regarding how the election of the president and the vice president will be conducted, and how both of them, president and the vice president, can be removed from their particular position. It is not just the appointment and removal of the president and vice president, but at the same time the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, how they will be appointed and they will be removed. That particular procedure, okay, that particular section is also the responsibility and the power and functions of the parliament. Okay, so these are some of the functions that is there under the jurisdiction of the parliament. Okay, please go through the NCERT book for the detailed.